Hello, good night guys, and welcome back to another KHUx Union Cross video. So, well, this is something under the subjection, or something that many people will be wondering. Hey, how can you actually defeat the raid boss and only without using a second chance? I'll be able to give you some answers about how you can do that, because many people, since we have the new legendary raid boss, many people will be wondering, hey, how can you actually defeat this without having any continues or having to respawn again? I'll let you know what is my equipment, guys. So let's go ahead and do the equipment. So pretty much in my equipment, let me see if this is actually lowered. Nah, I'm gonna lower this one. Okay, so what I have here is my current setup, and no worries about this release yet. This was just recently added, but I had an aqua there in case if you're wondering. So main objective here is I'm gonna actually do 3 sections. What do you need? What is the metals that you need to equip? And the Keyblade that you can choose. So let's go start with the first one. What is the metals that you need? Absolutely, in this case you will actually have to use, in this case, like a buffer metal on the beginning. Even so, for you know, well, I'm gonna say that in the next video, in the next section, but I'm gonna talk right now. But in my case, I use a fairy star, number 51. Absolutely, you need subslot is very important for the damage. And of course the buffer metal is just for the next metals to be oncoming. So any nominee, any Shion are most welcome, but in this case the nominee, I actually provide her the attack boost 8 max Lux plus plus, alongside with the current, you know, normal buffs, that is damage and rates, extra attack, ground and aerial. But usually what they do is that instead of aerial and ground, they just remove all those things and they just put here damage and rates. That is the most convenient thing that you can do. I didn't do that just because of the fact that I already have damage and rates 100%. That was like 6 months ago, or maybe 5 to 4 months ago that I got this one, and that's why I don't replace the nominate, because getting a damage and rates 100% to the metal that you want, it's kind of a little bit hard, to be honest. It is very hard, so that's why I keep the nominate. But if you have a Shion, just have a damage and rates, damage and rates, damage and rates, damage and rates, and then extra attack. And if you have a special trait with damage and rates, that's much better. But this is just my opinion. Now, I don't know about the, you know, in this case, the setup about this one, but like I mentioned, I'm just letting you know what do you need on each metals. Now, in this case, what do you need is just pretty much the buffer metal. You need specifically everyone with Lux plus plus, Lux plus plus, Lux plus plus, Lux plus plus, and if you see that the gauge is higher, you actually have the gauge 0 or 2 or 1 plus plus again. And in this case, more plus plus. Why do you need the plus plus? That will be so you'll be able to get the maximum efficient of Lux collected while you're in the raid, in raid bosses, and specifically in the times that you get the extra Lux for the determined time. So that's why you need extra Lux plus plus. Don't give me the wrong idea, Lux plus is actually worth it, but Lux plus plus is much better than the normal, and believe me, you'll level up very high in Lux. Now, that is all that you need. You need buffer metal, you need Lux plus plus in every single one of your metals, and of course the traits, that it's damage and rates. Ignore the aerial and ground, you don't need those. You can go ahead and stack damage and rates 40, 40, or 50, because we have 50 right now, but I don't need to replace that. I'm really good with the ones that I have. And damage and rates and the special trait, obviously. Now, what are the metals that you need? Pretty much in this case depends on the Keyblade setup, but right now I'm gonna let you know what I have here. So I have a rock troll, as you can see, damage and rates, extra attack power. I did actually put this one 50% when I had the possibility, when I had the chance of doing the, you know, the trade 100 jewels per each trade, so that's why I actually ended up with extra attack 50%. At least the extra attack is something that you really need in this case. Special trade, I put in max gauges plus 3, because the fairy stars, I think that it has like 18 sub slots, and some of the metals uses 1, 2, 1, 2, depending, and maybe 1 and 3. This one, oh no, this one is 2. So you get the point, right? So that's why I actually need that. In the special trade, it's not very specific that you need damage and rates. It will be more in your specific combination, like pretty much max gauges is actually very good. So in case for Keyblades like the fairy stars that has like I don't know, 18 gauges, or the reverse ones that have 12, those are very hard, so that's why. And that's the case that max gauge is actually very good. Now let's go with the Strelitzia. By the way, I actually have 3 Strelitzias, nothing special, animation is dupe, but in this case I wanted to add the Strelitzia because I have one with perfect traits, another one that it's the rape one, and I have another one that I don't know what to do with this one, but in this case I think I'm gonna keep it as a as a memorial, or maybe just a souvenir, because I have like 250 trade medals for trading Strelitzia, so that's why I don't have any problems. Now in this case, this is the one that I've been telling you. Damage and rates 50, 50, 50, and 40, because I was like, whatever. And then I got a special trade for 2k, so that's very cool. In this case, this is absolutely very amazing. It's actually very cool because it has 20-20 of damage, required gauges +1, and that's why the new max and looks plus that I bought from the VIP, it doesn't hurt very bad. So that's why attack boost and max and looks plus with 1 required gauge that you need. And even so, it fills your gauge, so there's no problems with this one. So that's why Strelitzia is over here. Even so, it looks very cute. She looks very cute. I don't want to say any kind of proprietary word because I know that she's under 18 years old and the FBI is going to be very restrictive. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention, you really want medals that it will provide you stacks, strength stack, right, like the Nominee, maybe Rock Troll. It doesn't provide you like all of them, but at least for the Semnes, and Strelitzia does upright metal strength, so at least you'll have more power for this one, that it's Frequent Sora and the KR25. So now the medals that you really want, like in this case, for those medals that, let's say for example, well, I'm gonna say it later on, but I'll tell you why I'm gonna tell you that later on, because that includes in the 3rd section about what Keyblades that you want to use. Now let's go with Semnes. Why Semnes? First of all, he's boosted, ignores attribute, targets, so it doesn't matter if it's power, magics, speed, it will still do super effective attacks. And Semnes is actually very cool because pretty much he is a very powerful enemy. Like, I forgot to erase this defense trait. I don't know why I still haven't updated that, but damage and rates, extra attack power, that's why it's absolutely here. And then I have the Kingdom Hearts illustrated Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora and Riku. Because of the same, he actually ignores target attributes, attack boost, 9 max and looks plus. Damage and rates at max HP. I don't know why. I don't need that, so that's why he's here. And later on, we have the KR25. In this case, I had a lot of KR25, so that's why not? He's actually very cool, amazing. But even so, he doesn't ignore anything. I just put it here because he's actually very powerful, and that's why I actually put it. And even so, I have damage and rates 20%, so that's the extra amount of things that you need to do. Now, let's go with the 3rd section. What Keyblade you should use. Now, there are people that they are very concentrating on leveling looks. So in this case, maybe you already have a setup with power, speed, magic. You already have your Keyblades with the specific medals that you already need. So you'll be able to have and not have any kind of problems about, hey, you know what? There's a magic raid boss and I need, I don't know, the Sleeping Lion with all this setup with Lux plus, so I won't have any kind of problems. Or I already have another one that needs power and I need a counterpoint with with all in the max plus and Lux plus. Or I need a speed, I need a power Keyblade, so I'll be able to go ahead and defeat the speed raid boss. So why do I actually have the fairy stars if you're gonna be encountering those things later on? Well, first of all, I do have something special over here, and if you want, like, you don't need this Strelitzia or this one, because, well, pretty much in reverse metals we are having some problems, but in reverse metals we still have, I don't know, Section, we still have the Gambler, we have the Sorcerer. Like, those medals are still very useful, so you'll be able to do the Lux plus, the Lux one thing. Or you can use the Demix, like copycatting the next medal. It doesn't hurt, but in this case it's not convenient because the strength is not cool, so you got the point, right? But we still have a lot of other medals, like instead of using the Strelitzia here, you can change it with Yenset. Kingdom Hearts 3 Yenset. Yenset, why? Because it ignores target's attributes. It's still gonna be super effective. You don't have to worry about the damage and anything like that, so you'll be able to use it. And of course, it will be a super effective attack, and pretty much they will have any kind of problems like, oh, you know what, like boom, super effective, and I don't need to worry about if it's gonna be weak or the damage is equal, or pretty much in this case I won't do the maximum damage to defeat the raid boss. And later on we have the Semnes. I already mentioned those two guys already do ignore target's attributes, so those already do super effective attacks. So that's why Semnes and Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora and Riku are there, because pretty much those two medals are very powerful, and of course they absolutely provide you the maximum damage for the raid bosses, of course. And the pet slot, it could be tutti frutti, like it could be random. You don't need a specific medal. Like that's the biggest win about having a pet slot. Doesn't matter what kind of Keyblade that you can use. Pretty much put the Keyblade that you want, power, speed, magic, and it will provide you the power and the multiplier that you need. And pretty much in this case, you can add whatever medal that you want here. Like if you already, for multi Keyblades, of course, you want to change the pet slot, and you want to have, I don't know, a Ventus or an Aqua or a Terra, for example, depending on which encounter do you have with the raid boss, and absolutely you'll be able to get it in no time. And for the mono Keyblades, you already have the elements. Just need, like in this case, let's say for example that I have all this set up and I already have Lux++, and pretty much I'm able to defeat it, so no worries in there. Same for power, same for magic. Pretty much you already have the specific Keyblades, so you won't have to deal with those mono Keyblades that in the multi Keyblades that already have multiple attributes. And the reason they do that is because of the subslot multiplier. Like mono Keyblades will provide you 1.6 multiplier, that it's almost more powerful than the mono Keyblade, the multi Keyblades, because the multi Keyblades provides you only 1.0 multiplier, and the dual Keyblades, the ones that only have 2, they provide you 1.2. It provides a little bit of boost, but it's not as powerful as the mono Keyblades. So that's why the mono Keyblades are much better, but it will cost you more jewels in getting the subslots, getting the Lux++, and they need to buy along the way. If they see like the skill chart that they already have like 4 skills of Lux++ and all that stuff, you will actually need to reimburse a little bit of jewels because of that. But that's not gonna be a problem right now. Like I mentioned, the only problem that we're gonna be having is just the skills, just because of the fact that we already have a lot of medals on the anniversary. And if you want to still pull for more Supernova++ medals, you already have the banner over there that it's the falling price deal. Then in the next 3 pulls you get an OP medal, or maybe not a medal that you need, but of course it's just there for 1 week, for 1 day. And if you pull for the anniversary, you will be like me, that already have a lot of medals that I can still use, but I don't have the skills to get the content that I need. But you already get the point. So this is all that I wanted to talk about how to defeat the legendary one. If you're wondering, yes, I can defeat it in 2 turns. Pretty much I just use all the normal stuff. One more thing, do not use the Supernova ability. Why? Because the Supernova ability doesn't stack with the Lux++. You're doing the damage, but you're not stacking the Lux. So I don't recommend you guys to use the Supernova. There's a reason why the Fiend actually has a multiplier of the Supernova ability into 13k, because the 13k, well, depending on how much damage do you do on the raid boss, absolutely, it's just going to do the damage, but it will not stack the Lux. It doesn't stack with the Lux++. So do not use Supernova abilities while you're doing in raid bosses. Do not do it. It will just waste your Lux, even so that you'll be able to defeat the raid boss higher. The big objective about defeating the raid boss is trying to squeeze all the Lux from the raid boss by having the powerful setup necessary. So do not use the Supernova abilities while you're doing raid bosses. Or unless if you have, instead of a Nominate here and you have a Xion and you think that the damage is not good, then of course go ahead and do it. But I wouldn't recommend it because of the fact that you're wasting a bit of a Lux there, but it's not so relevant. So like I mentioned, you're free to go ahead and check all your medals that you have and see, hey, you know what, I see that Roxas is very OP and I already have like a lot of copies. Maybe I want to do it as a raid, you know, as a raid medal, or I don't know, some outdated medals like the KR24 that event. So it's very good, the medal, but for terms in PvP and PvE, maybe raid boss is gonna be very good. As long as, well, you know, a bunch of Kyries that I have here, but I have the Strelitzia, so you get the point, right? Like, I have 3 Strelitzias, I can use one for raid boss. I have like 4 or 5 Sephiroths, I can still use one for raid boss. I have 2 Clouds, I can use one. I have 2 Tifa, I can use one. It all depends about the amount of medals that you have and what do you want to do with your medals. So that's the biggest point about how to construct your setup. The rock troll is just there just because of the fact that I already had in full trade. I think that I did have the raid boss and the, you know, I just updated his extra attack. But either that, if it wasn't for that, I can go for the gambler, but it costs 6 gauges. The sorcerer, but pretty much the sorcerer is not so good, so that's why I just say no. And maybe Yensid is very good because Yensid, like I mentioned, ignores target attributes and you wouldn't have to deal with those kind of situations that it's super effective, it's not super effective, but as long as you have the multipliers that I have, as long as you have the biggest setup, as long as you have, you know, the fairy stars with a good multiplier, you know, you don't need to worry about that. But I'm just here to give you advice. I'm not telling you anything about, you know, what specifically you want to do. It's all in your you know, all is creative. You can go ahead and see what kind of things that you want, what kind of medals that you have, and what is the content that you want to go ahead and do it. Even though I see some TVA medals that have super the Lux plus or even defense boost 6 or 7 max in PvP. So everything is on your head. What do you want to do with your setup? What do you want to go ahead and you know, put, what kind of traits do you want to put on every single one of your medals, and what kind of skills do you want to put in your medals, so you'll be you know, you will be able to conquer PvP, PvE, and of course the raid boss. But well, that is all my opinion. So I hope that this video was very informative and very cool for you guys. Just wanted to give you an update about how to defeat the legendary raid bosses, because when that first came up, I needed to update my setup. Like, I remember that I had an anti-aqua here. I did have an aqua here, like the Supernova plus aqua that we have here, that it's the Renova medal. I had a Sephiroth, I had a Ventus here, and I don't remember what I had here. Maybe it was what was that I got here? Oh, I remember, it was a Chain of Memory Sora and then a Ventus here, but then the damage was not so satisfying and I needed to update my you know, my setup. Like, the anti-aqua is very it doesn't have any strength, so that's why the rock troll came in. The Supernova plus aqua was still very good, but the Strelitzia was better. And then I have Semines and Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora and Riku that ignores target attributes, so those two are the biggest one. Even so, this guy does a very powerful damage that it's like, oh my god, it's a good relief that I actually have 3. I think I only have 2 of them. Yeah, I only have 2 of those medals, so I feel really relief on the VIP that I got another one. So you get the point, right? And this one is just, I had like 5 or 6 KR25, so you get the point why he's here. But well, hope you enjoyed this video. I don't want to do a demonstration because I know that I'll be able to defeat it in one, but I just wanted to give you my setup about how to defeat the legendary raid boss. You know, the advice that I gave you guys. What do you need to set up? What do you need to construct? What is the Keyblade? What is the you know, what is the skills that you need? And pretty much what do you need to do? So I'll see you guys in the next time. May your hearts be your guiding key, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.